Best of r/ Tales from Retail episode 104. Subscribe for edit videos daily. This happened about 6 years ago, when I was working for a well-known high street fashion retailer, as an assistant department manager. I was working at a till, training a new starter, when a woman stalled up, placed a shoebox on the counter, opened the lid, took out a boot, and asked me to put my hand all the way inside. "Why would you like me to do that?" was my response. "Just do it," she demanded. I kept refusing politely, all the while asking her why she wanted me to do that. She got madder and madder, and louder, and this attracted the attention of staff and customers alike, including my manager. She knew I could handle things, so she stayed out of it, but waited to see what was going on. After maybe 5 to 7 minutes of this repetitive back and forth, the woman screamed, "Because there is a metal spike in the toe and I wanted you to get hurt like I did. So, you're telling me that because of a manufacturing defect that caused you pain, you thought it was okay to try and bully me into getting hurt too? Why not? It's only right." Well, a normal person would have come in, told us about the fault, we'd have been deeply apologetic, and then tried to make amends in some way, but you chose to try and inflict bodily harm on an innocent person. She then swung at me, trying to claw me with her nails. I dodged that, just as my manager and another colleague grabbed her from behind and restrained her. The police were called, and she was carted off. Sadly, I never learned what became of her. On later inspection, the metal spike turned out to be a small plastic shard or spur of some kind, maybe 2 millimeters long at most. It was a bit jagged and slightly sharp. Thank you. Next. If you work in retail long enough, I'm sure that you'll run into some customers that want to have whatever item they wish to buy at a cheaper price simply because they asked for a discount. Haggling is useful in many situations of trying to buy something. However, as many of us are aware that in chain retail stores, once a price is set on something, there are few reasons as to why a discount would be applied. For a retail employee, we have guests pretty much every day ask if we can give them a special price for their item. Some people don't like taking no for an answer, but for the most part they end up either buying it anyway or leaving once they talk to a manager and the manager tells them the same thing. This one couple I dealt once with takes the cake. They came in wanting to buy a chair for their home office. I helped them out and showed them our furniture. Once they chose one they liked, they asked if there was any way I could bring down the price, of which I said that I cannot do so and the price listed is what we have to sell it for. They proceed to ask if I can ask the manager. I smile and left to get the manager on duty to tell him we have guests that wish to talk to him. By the time we got back, he began talking to them and they asked him the same thing they asked me. Once he told them that we can't bring down the price, they then proceeded to show them a big scratch in the fabric of the chair that I swear wasn't there before. My manager looked at it and made eye contact with me and I gave a surprised blank stare back at him. He ended up giving them a 10% discount for it, in which they were pleased, and we wheeled the chair up to check them out and helped it in their vehicle. Afterward I told him I knew for a fact that it wasn't scratched before I came to get him. He didn't blame me for it and he knows they did it just to get money off the price, and you can't really do anything about it if we can't prove they did it. Thank you. Next. This happened about a month or so ago. I work at a fuel center. We used to have a bottle of hand sanitizer outside the counter for the customers to use. We had to stop this and put it inside of our kiosk because we were told that we wouldn't be getting any more for a while if we ran out. We are handling cash all day, so my boss decided to take the bottle from the counter and put it inside. At that point we only had like a full bottle and a quarter of a bottle. Another reason why we took it inside is because customers were doing like 5 or 6 pumps instead of 1 or 2. Anyways, to the story. It was a cloudy day and it wasn't too busy outside. The lady pulls up next to pump 6 and comes up to the window after a few moments of getting her method of payment. "Hello, mom. How are you?" "I'm good. 20 on pump 6 please." Her voice trails off as I am setting up the transaction. I ask her for her loyalty discount card and I scan it where she holds it up. She seems to be looking around the kiosk for some reason. I think she spotted the bottle of hand sanitizer that was next to the cash register. She suddenly says, "You all should have that outside for us customers." I am slightly taken aback, but I reply with, "We did, but we had to take it inside because it was running out pretty quickly. I'm sorry about that, mom." She then kinks her eyes and looks hard enough to see the back of the kiosk where our backstock is. She spots the almost full one and is upset. Why can't you just put that one outside? I then sighed mentally and replied with that hand sanitizer is only for employees. We did have it outside for customers but it was going pretty fast. We had to put it inside because we don't know when we are getting some more. She huffed and then got her gas and left. I texted my boss about it. She replied with yeah, well, too bad. She can buy her own or stay at home. Thank you. Next. This happened about a year ago when I was a university student working in a liquor store. Best job. Loved it. We had many tourists come to buy scotch of all types and prices. One evening an entourage of older tourists dropped in and yelled at my colleague and I, "Bablu. I need Bablu." There is no whiskey named Bablu, however we're used to this, so my colleague and I showed the gentleman our selection of Balblair and asked which he'd like, explaining to him the different varieties and how they're going to be the last generation of year statements, and so on. My colleague and I are both young and female, which didn't appeal to this guy. He stuck his nose up, alluding that we didn't know as much as he did. False. Combined, we know a lot, and even called himself a whiskey connoisseur. Without much else he chose based on the price, lowest, and wanted 3, came to about £112, which, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't that much. I asked whether he wanted a bag. He gruffed and refused, so I rung him up for the 3 whiskeys. Gave the receipt, signed some tax forms and thanked him. He didn't leave. Him. Give me a bag. Me. Oh sorry, sir. You said you didn't need one. It's an extra 5p but you can just put it in our charity box. Him. 5p? You means I've just come all the way from bought hundreds of pounds of whiskey and you're wanting me to pay 5p for a plastic bag? Me. Yes, it's the law here. If we don't abide by the law then our license could get revoked. It all goes to charity. We've chosen WaterAid so that people from the most deprived countries can get access to water. Him. But that's disgraceful. I can't believe you're going to charge me 5p. I won't stand for it. This is awful. Colleague. It's the law. Think about the future. Plastic bag waste has gone down 80% since the price was introduced and the money all goes to charity. The old man lost his mind and screamed at us. Charity. I'm a charity. He and his entourage stormed out carrying the heavy weight of 3 Bablu whiskies between the 3 of them. A colleague and I have since referred to Balblair as Bablu in his honor. Thank you. Next. Hey, all. First time posting on here, so here we go. I work at a relatively new grocery store in a small town in Washington. We've only been open for around 9 months now and our customer count has been going up recently, so it gets a bit harder to keep track of customers. I usually work as a cashier most of the week on the closing shift, but I'll also throw freight in the aisles at least 2 days a week. Anyways, here's the story. So, in our stockroom, we have 4 handheld scanners on docks ready to use by employees and managers to check prices, print tags, etc. On St. Patrick's Day, we somehow lost 2 of them. These things are worth a lot of money, and at first, we thought 2 managers had just misplaced them. For the past month, they've been trying to track them with the tile trackers they put on each device, and they've always shown to be just outside, or even in our parking lot. The owners were obviously confused, and have been trying to figure out what happened to them. Yesterday, I came in for my shift as the closing cashier. I grabbed my uniform from my locker, put on my face mask, and grabbed my headset. As I'm in the front office getting my radio, one of the owners grabs my attention and shows me a printout of the security cameras. From now on I'll just put them as O1 and O2 for owners 1 and 2. O1. So, we just found out who took our handhelds. It turns out he just walked straight to the back and just took them off the docks and walked right back out. We're pretty sure you were on your break at that point. Did you see him? The break room is just inside of the stockroom, but there aren't any windows or anything besides a slim one-way window on the door. Me. I didn't see him, but he does look familiar. I'll keep an eye out for him. O2. If you see him, let us know. That's very valuable equipment he stole. Me. Yes, sir. I'll let you know if I see him. I walk out and clock in. So, I'm going about my normal shift. I count in my till. I do some facing around the store since there are 2 cashiers up front. currently. Then it happens. 15 minutes after I switch out registers with the opening cashier, the guy walks right in and grabs a basket. At first, I didn't recognize him. Even on the picture, he just looked like any ordinary guy. Luckily, our front-end manager has years of experience, so she spotted him no problem. So she goes and faces the area he's in, acting like she's making it look pretty, and he's really interested in the chicken. The chicken that's right next to the stockroom. Anyways, a few minutes later he comes up with a full basket of goodies. As he's talking to me, I hear the manager telling O2 he's in my line, and he's being rung up. I freeze for a second because I couldn't say anything. Luckily I had a mask on so he couldn't see my look of shock come across my face. Anyways, O2 comes up and is acting like he's helping me bag. Then he suddenly starts a conversation with him. I'll put the customer as T for thief. O2, hey, have you gone in this store before? T, yeah, a few times. I'm a pretty frequent shopper. O2, okay, cool. Have you been here around the 17th of March? T, immediately starts acting nervous. Not that I know of. O2, alright. Stops bagging, hang on 1 second. I'll be right back. O2 went to the front office, I'm guessing to grab the printout they showed me earlier, and T's just sputtering. Suddenly, T just looks up, does a 180, and just starts walking out. In the middle of my transaction, I actually had to shut down my register so I didn't get a line going. So, I then pull out my radio, the mic remote won't work, probably from the rain, and alert O2 he's trying to walk out, and he just Usain bolts out the door after him, probably trying to ask him why he stole the handhelds. And then, as O2 is getting the guy's license plate, T tried to run O2 over with his car, probably in view of the front surveillance camera. So the cops are called, charges were pressed, and now they know who he is. He's probably done this before, now that I think about it, and I'm just in shock. Afterwards, I was profusely apologizing for not noticing it was him in the first place, but the manager just reassured me that I just didn't have experience in identifying people like that. She had around 9 years in experience to boot, that's why she was able to spot him. Anyways, let's hope there's an end to that whole deal and we can get our 2 handhelds back. LOL. TL. Doctor, the same day we find out who stole our handhelds, the thief shows up and gets a dose of karma. Update, I forgot to mention that when he stole those handhelds, he did it with no hesitation, and like he knew what he was doing. It was an insane breach of privacy, and no one even noticed. Thank you. Next. Short one for my first post cause this always makes me laugh. Small background, I work in a clothing store in the UK. This clothing store is known for being pretty cheap, not high-end at all. It's a busy Saturday and suddenly a group of 10 young girls, 9-13 age range, I'm bad with ages, joined the queue, with one older woman at the end. Serving them itself was frustrating as they had no idea how the card machines worked and wouldn't stop chatting to listen to me try and explain. So, I'm already a bit frustrated when I serve the older woman. She asks for a bag, I tell her the R5p, she gets annoyed and says she doesn't want the change. She asks if we have any tissue she could wrap her purchase in, and I say sorry no, just the bags. As I said earlier, we are a fast fashion cheap clothing shop. She makes a snide comment about how she have tissue, I just keep scanning. In the end, her purchase comes to £6. She hands me £10. I hand her £2 2 coins, the smallest amount of coins possible. She looks at me, sneers, and asks can she have it in notes as she doesn't want change. I pause to process, then tell her change is £4 so I cannot give it to her in notes. She looks at me like I'm stupid, then takes her change and walks away. Some customers really don't understand they can be wrong. Edit. People have said this in the comments, but to be clear the smallest note we have in England is £5. Thank you. Next. So my store has a furniture area that has been ordered to shut down a few days ago because it is obviously non-essential. So we have a barricade across the entryway to prevent people from going in. So yesterday, a couple comes in and sees the barricade. They are known to be a pain because they always want discounts, even though the guy's job in the medical field earns him a lot more than the average person. So the couple come in and see the barricade. They say they saw a piece of furniture they are interested in getting but are wanting a discount. So the girl who works in that area goes in and check the piece. It's worth over $3,000. So she says she can take $500 off. The wife says that's still way too much and wanted it for half off. My co-worker told her that's not possible. She can take an additional $200 off, but that's as low as she will go. Part of her offer too was we will deliver it, but it will only be dropped in their driveway. The husband said we can't get that into our house by ourselves. How are we supposed to get it in? My co-worker replied that's something you will have to figure out yourselves. We can't be entering people's houses right now. They didn't take it. We were all shaking our heads after they left, saying the husband works in the medical field, so he should be well aware of why we can't be going into people's houses. The next one, a few days ago, I had a customer needing parts for his BBQ, so I contact the company, and their messages say most of their customer service staff are working from home, and the factory is basically shut down. I get a hold of a customer service agent, and basically, his parts won't come for quite some time. So I phone the customer, and tell him it could be weeks or months before his parts arrive. His response was that it's BBQ season. I want to start cooking. I told him unfortunately there is no one at the factory, so his parts can't be shipped out. He gave a long annoyed sigh, and told me to order them, and keep him informed if anything changes. And another one, but really funny one that happened yesterday. I was in our store's paint area, which is right next to our closed off furniture area. So I'm standing well inside paint, surrounded by paint cans helping a customer, when an older guy comes in, and says is your paint area shut down? Confused, I said no, we're still operating. If you want to choose a color, just go over to the board and pick some colors. He replied but you have it closed off. How am I supposed to get in? I was really confused at this point. I asked are you needing paint or furniture? He said he needs paint. I said it's furniture that's closed off. Paint is still running. He said but paint has barricades to the entrance. I can't get in. Finally I said sir, it's furniture that's closed. This is paint. He goes oh, is this paint? I say yes this is paint. The guy was at least 15 feet inside the paint area, and when talking to me asking all that, he was standing in front of a stack of paint, with a wall of paint products less than 6 feet away from him, and large signs saying paint etc hanging everywhere.